comment, like, and subscribe. Hey, check it out, Foxbody content. This video is gonna be really cool. You're gonna see me going out beating on this Foxbody like it owes me money with some nitrous, and it is just fantastic right up until water started coming out and smoke everywhere. So stay tuned, you'll figure out what happened in the video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Shout out to all my subscribers, couldn't do it without you. All right, this will be part 2 of the nitrous in the Foxbody. So these are the plugs I just took out. These are the Autolite 3910s. See how the tip, it's a colder plug with that the electrode there and the strap. You can tell how it's cut back. But if you look at these new ones I just got called the 3932s, see how much more the porcelain is recessed. So while that 3910 is a good plug, this 3932 is even better because it's more recessed, and that's definitely going to help us stove off any detonation or any problems. So I'm about to slap these bad boys in. Before I do, I got to check the gap. I think they're real tight 24 gap. I'm going to put them about a 32 gap, 32 34 gap. These were 34, so I'll go about 32 34, and then, but if you look, they're the same. They got the same washer, thread reach, everything. So if you had a 3910, you want a colder plug, 3932 Autolite is the way to go. One thing to show you, if you're a nitrous guy looking for like any kind of speckles or pepper on the plug, this is a brand new plug, and if you see it, let's see if I can get up here in the light. You can actually see some little things in it. That's just how the porcelain was made. So you got to be careful that when you go to read the plugs that you're not seeing that stuff. You think it's pepper like detonation when it's not. It's how the porcelain's made. So that can be a little tricky as well. Oh, another tip is when you get ready to do your strap, these were gapped to like 24. What I do is I take some needle nose like this, go in here and bend that back a little bit. I've got my 32 feeler gauge here. It's just a little loose. So I come over here, I drop the plug in this little spark plug adapter like that, put this in, and then I tighten this down until it's snug, and then I've got the proper gap for all my plugs. They are consistent. So that helps when you're running stuff like this. Just a little tip. All right, so we got to go do another test drive with the nitrous. Getting our pressure up, if you can see it there. It's right at 1,000 pounds. I've been heating it for about 20 minutes now. So instead of draining my battery, I just hit my battery charger to it on 30 amps and let it roll. And then I took the nitrous jet that I had in it, which was a 31, and I put a 41 in it. So now I'm gonna be dumping more fuel. I got definitely a colder plug. And this thing should, I'm hoping the air fuel goes from the, you know, low to mid 12s down to mid high 11s is what I'm shooting for. So if I can get it in the mid to high 11s, I think it'll be perfect. And that's with a 53 jet, which technically is a 100 horsepower shot in this particular nitrous express fogger nozzle. One thing I did want to mention, I got a digital scale today just for doing my bottles. I weighed that bottle, it was 19.6 pounds. So technically, it's not really any runs left in it. I'm gonna try it. It should be a good for one good hit, but typically your bottles are gonna be about 24 pounds when they're full. And once you've made about 2 or 3 passes with a 100 shot at the track, let's say for example, once it gets under 20 pounds, around 19 is when you start having some issues. Might spit and sputter, might be kind of low. I fill my own bottles, so I make sure there's not any air in them. I try to get as much nitrous as possible. So I might be able to run this down to maybe 17, 18 before it has a problem. So I think I'll be able to play with it today. But one thing I'll mention about that too, when they get low in nitrous, it takes longer to heat them up. A full bottle will heat up much faster than a half filled bottle. All right, let's do a wide open pull motor. About mid 12s, 12.4 to 12.6 is where it was. Alright. Now let's arm the system, purge it. Okay. Slow down here a little bit. Try second gear. Alright, I saw about 11.2, 11.3 when I went to third. It was a little delayed because it's not coming into 3600. But that's alright. Seem to take it. It definitely is richer, which is what I wanted. I knew 10 sizes was a big change on it, so I can probably cut that in half, but that's really safe. And I know my bottle's, you know, getting empty too, so I can probably lower that RPM turn on down from, I went from 38 to 36. I can probably lower it down to about 32. But just little minor tweaks we can do to it. But it spun all the way through second gear, no problem. And I was pedaling it, so I don't just bang it off the rev limiter. Let's go from a stop. Roll it out and go. About 10.8 wide open throttle. So the good news is it's turning off before it hits the rev limiter, so it doesn't backfire. It totally annihilates the tires, which is what you'd expect. That was a pull from first all the way to fourth. But yeah, she's definitely fat now at 10.8. So what I can do is split the difference from 31 to 41, put like a 36 fuel jet in it, and I think we'll be dialed in for the 100 shot. Let's just go from second since first's a violet. Well, couldn't find third gear for a minute. But yeah, she's definitely fat. That time it was low 10s, so definitely fat. That's good. I definitely want it fatter than I do leaner, but it's running really good. I'm sure my bottle is not happy. I'm sure it's empty now, but not bad. I'm telling you, this thing really takes to the nitrous. Well, that's interesting. So I was making my pulls and I looked down and I saw some steam at a stop sign. I looked down, my temperature's over halfway. I thought, what in the world? I get up here where I can pull over, and my water pump is leaking out the bottom of it. Like, the water pump's bad. It's brand new. That water pump don't have 150, 200 miles on it. And it leaked pretty much most of my water out. Luckily, I pulled over to church. They had a water spigot. I turned it on with a hose. I was able to fill the motor up, cool the radiator on that. Even though the cap was cold, just shows you it dumped all the water, and went ahead and filled up the overflow to give me enough water. Hopefully I can get home. I'm only a few miles from the house, but I got to keep an eye on the temp. If it starts getting high again, I'll pull over and get some water and put in it. But how about that? Brand new water pump decides it's had enough after a couple hits on nitrous. That kind of gets your day shorter. All right, so this was different. So luckily I found a place to stop, and the gentlemen that live here were nice enough to let me put some water in the car, but it kept pouring out so bad. So they took me to my house to get my car and trailer, or my truck and trailer. You can see how bad it was just cranking it up, trying to pull it up here. The water pump has bit the dust. So luckily those guys were super nice. I tipped them. They didn't want to take my money. I said, absolutely not. You guys have really helped me out. I appreciate it. So let's get home. All right, so decided to go back the way I came on the car so I could see what kind of, you know, marks I made, because I could see them in the rearview mirror. There's There's the first and second. All right. While I'm on the way home and you can see the Foxbody on the trailer there, can we talk about how they don't make parts like they used to? I mean, that's a brand new water pump, not a reman, a brand new water pump. And that car, let's just say it's got 200 miles on it, you know, nothing. So now I gotta take all that shroud and fan off and the pulleys and get down and take the water pump off and then reseal it. Refill the antifreeze and water mix again. Man. But I will tell you, before the water pump failed, it was doing extremely well on the nitrous to the point that it was really, really rich now. I saw in the 10s, mid to low 10s at one point in 4th gear. So it definitely is much, much richer now with the plugs and the fuel change. So clearly I changed 2 things at once instead of 1. But I'll go back now with the colder plugs. I'll split the difference between the 41 jet, and I had the 31. Maybe I'll put a 33 or 34 jet in it. That'll be richer and we'll see what it likes. But again, I've got a blend of E85 and 93, half and half. All right, so I'm back, unloaded. Look at this, I put it in here, took the radiator cap off, look at it, started leaking everywhere. So I put my catch pan under it, it's still leaking, so. Anyway, I pulled a plug out because you know me, I'm curious how it was running. And look at that. That looks really good. You can see how the tip is for E85. What you want to do is follow it down that electrode. And right now it is still very, very rich because we want that to go down the strap here. Down the, well, not the electrode, down the strap. We want to go down the strap down in here, but it's about halfway on the strap. See that? That actually looks really nice. That is really nice. Colder plugs work great. Like I said, right before the water pump decided to end the festivities for today, this thing was rowdy out there on the highway. First gear, blowing the tires off. Second gear, blowing the tires off. Third gear, smoking the tires. Like, it's really, really a fun throwback to what it was in the 90s when you had the fastest thing on the block. If you had this car in the 90s, you could stomp on anybody. Corvettes, Camaros, you were the man with this setup. Flash forward to today, and these new Mustang GTs come off the lot with 435 or 460 horsepower now. It's unbelievable. But back in the day, this is how you did it. This thing is run really good. It still has valve train noise on this head, not this head, but that head in particular, where that rocker and that push rod were not quite happy. But what's funny is I've readjusted. I don't think it's that. Somebody took the rockers that's on here and they made them work for pedestal. They literally cut the bottom of the rockers. You see where they machined them, instead of being round, they're like flat to fit and not hit on a pedestal. So what I'm wondering is whoever machined that, if maybe they got a couple of them not quite machined enough and they're kind of rocking against the pedestal, if you know what I'm saying. That could be the valve train noise. It just needs the right rockers on it. And I know what somebody did. They had those rockers, they were gonna make them work instead of spending $300 to $500 on a set of rockers. I get it. But to do it right, I'm probably gonna pull the heads off eventually. I want to set a Trick Flow 11R 190s for it. And when I do, I'll get the right rockers and push rods for it, set it up, and I'm sure it'll be super quiet when that's done. But for now, the bottom end and those GT heads, those GT40 aluminum heads, the X302 they're called, they do really well. Honestly, they don't do bad at all. On the nitrous, clearly anything is a lot more power. If it was just motor, those 11R heads and a different camshaft would really make it come alive. So you know if I change the heads, I'm gonna change the cam too. But for now, the old school E-cam, X302 aluminum GT40 heads, Edelbrock intake, it runs great. And again, E85 and nitrous, it is a tire fryer. Now if I could just get the stupid water pump not to leak, we'd be good. See if I can get the light in here so you can see it where it comes out. All right, watch right there when I squeeze this hose. Nice, right? All right, so removed the radiator and fan so I can get in here to this, and the bracket, and now I'm about to remove the water pump bolts. There we go. Now let's quickly see if we can see the problem. Yes, we can see the problem. Look right here. That's between the plate and the pump. And that has clearly blown the gasket out there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is undo these two screws, and I can pull this backing plate off, and what you'll find is you're going to see the gasket between has shredded and started coming out the bottom, and that's why it had a leak straight out the bottom. And yeah, we're going to fix it. How are we going to fix it, you say? Well, here's the new pump that came in from Gates. This is the box that came in. Here's the part number, and I've gone ahead and removed the plate from this pump because I'm going to silicone this around and put the gasket on, seal that up, put the plate on it, tighten it down, and then attach this to the motor, and then we won't have that problem. But this is literally the gasket that goes between the separator plate here. All right, so pretty much reassembly like you took it off. Get the gasket on there, put a little dab of silicone around the edges where the mounting surfaces are in case there's any imperfections. Put your bolts in, torque them down. They don't need a lot of torque. You're talking 10, 12 pounds of torque at the most. Hook your hoses back up, lower hose 2. And now I'm getting ready to drop I'll put the pulley on it, put one bolt in it, kind of hold it. Then I'll drop the radiator and the fan assembly in there. And yeah, then we'll tighten everything back up, hook it all back together. Everything is back together and plugged in. Filled up the water from the top hose here with the cap on till it started coming out of the thermostat, so it purged all the air out. And now it's as simple as cranking it up, making sure it comes up to temperature, thermostat opens, topping off the water, and we should be good to go back and beat on it. One thing I did notice here, I've got some extra grinding here on my intake. Apparently, right here under the hood, it is touching, so I need to bend that up a little bit. It's a good thing my intake already had a problem. I'd be mad, but I'm not even mad about it. Find out if I got enough nitrous to go make a couple more hits. Probably not. No leaks under the bottom. Because I'm not going to be spraying nitrous just to drive it around, I bumped the timing back up from 12 degrees to 18 degrees initial. So it should be pretty spicy just on motor again. Successful test drive. You can see it's still hovering around the A, all around the A when thermostat opens and closes, which is perfect. Oil pressure, everything's good. So now get it back inside, and tomorrow I will work on the steering shaft. What's happening, YouTube? How about the jacket though? Right? Anyway, quick video here to finish up. So I drove this last night. Everything worked out. It burped out whatever little bit of water it had in it. I opened this up. This is full of water and I'm overflow. Unfortunately, this is old. It broke. I got to get a new one. Down in there, it's just a little bit of water, so it took out the residual, and it's good. This thing runs great. I got to go back around my header bolts, make sure everything's tight. Now I've done a few heat cycles on it, but overall you can see everything is in here and good to go. Cleaned up, 0 leaks from that other water pump because the gasket blew out. This car is absolutely filthy, and what I didn't realize till I went back here this morning, it had curled up under the back, so this thing's completely nasty back here. I want to show you, I put a brand new nitrous gauge on here. This is from Nitrous Express. It's a little bit bigger gauge and it's easier to read. So when I turn it on, you see the bottle, it's only like 650 pounds. Number one, it was cold in the garage this morning, but number two, the bottle was definitely low. It's only like 19 pounds of total weight. And the bottle itself weighs about 15, 16 pounds with the attachment and all on it. Bottle's empty. Can't really get any good passes on it. Might be able to go get one more hit on it, but it's probably gonna be running rich because it's run out of nitrous. But this just makes it easier to read. Just want to show you that. And just want to take a moment to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. In the last year, my channel has grown significantly. I think I started off last year with a little over 4,000 subscribers. And as of today, January the 18th, 2025, I am just over 40,000 subscribers there, which is really cool. And I think a lot of the subscribers this past year has been twofold. One, I've been doing a lot more racing than I had in the years past. So with the TTSaleen over there and the Mach 1, the 6R80 swap in the Mach 1, I think a lot of people really were enjoying watching that series. And then of course the Foxbody. So there's other cars on the channel, but those 3 videos, I've got it up there on my TV, those seem to have gotten the most views this year, which is cool. Find something that my channel represents with Mustangs and hot rodding in general, and touch on where people are interested to watch it, you know. So I appreciate that. Just wanted to share that with you. It's been a great year. I hope to turn out more content this year. As you know, the big thing that everybody was surprised by was that I put nitrous on the Foxbody. It's not that hard to do, but people just don't do it anymore. There's so much bad stigma around nitrous, people that don't know much about it and they're scared to use it. I'm telling you now, it is the poor man's supercharger. In my last video, I kind of joke around about Vortex superchargers and all, but I really like them. I mean, eventually I'll probably have one on this car. And I'll tell you the simple fact why. It's not that it makes a lot more power with the Vortex, it's just that the nitrous has so much more torque and it's instant that it's hard to get away from that feeling. It's like driving the Mach 1 over there with the supercharger on it. As soon as you open it up, it's instant torque, and that's what the nitrous feels like. With a Vortex, it only makes as much boost as you're revving the motor. So as you rev the motor and are going down the track or down the street, it makes more boost, it makes more power, so it feels really good. But that instant torque is just phenomenal. I'll tell you the drawback to nitrous. It's not all the stigma and the bad stuff around it. Once you get it on, have it really set up for your car, it's really reliable. But I'll tell you what else is reliable, that bottle going empty. And the problem right now is I'm trying to figure out how to get bottles filled. I used to work at a shop where I actually filled bottles for people, so I know how to do a really good fill with hardly any air whatsoever in the bottle, so you get more passes. But I want to get a station where I can fill them here at my house. And there's a little bit of red tape there because I live in a residential area and most companies don't want to deliver. They have to deliver the bottle for safety and they don't want to deliver to residential. So I'm trying to figure out a way around that. So not only can I fill my own bottles, I can fill bottles for buddies of mine. But in the meantime, I bought a new bottle from Jegs, so I'll have a backup bottle, and that way when I do get them filled, the fun won't end in like one day of me driving around showing you guys what nitrous does. But I hope you enjoyed all the content I put together. I'm about to work on another video. It'll be putting in this Maximum Motorsport steering shaft. As you can see, it's much better than just the rag joint. It's got a lot more, it'll firm up the steering. This is Borgeson makes this, and Maximum Motorsports actually welds it in here. So instead of set screws that can loosen up, and then this attaches right at the factory location. So I've got to figure out how to put this on with my long tubes in place, but that is a video I'm going to work on. and just other parts. I got that new nitrous gauge. If you're interested, that's the part number. I think it's 15508. And then I got Nitrous outlet sent me a bunch of jets, so I can choose from what nitrous and fuel jet I want to do. As I get on the dyno and start dialing in this shot, right now it's 100 shot. I'd like to end up about 150 shot on it with the dialed in air fuel and the dialed in timing, and just see what it'll make. And if it makes 375 horsepower, great. If it makes 475 horsepower, great. You know, if it makes 500 foot-pounds of torque, even better. But I'm gonna try to set it up to get as close to 400 to 500 horsepower as I can, and 500 pounds of torque is what I'd like to have with this car. I know with that setup, this thing will run 10 seconds in the quarter all day long. So stay tuned. Thanks for following along. Thanks for all you subscribers. I always look at all the comments you guys leave. I appreciate all the likes you do. I know this doesn't appeal to everybody, and I know I'll get some dislikes because there are people that just don't like things that I do, or they don't like the way I talk or something, you know, and it's cool, man. Everybody's got to have their own thing, and, you know, just be yourself and be happy in what you do, and other people will follow. It's cool. So for those that like the stuff I do, these are for you. If you have any suggestions, want to see some cool stuff, let me know. I'm always trying to better my video content by having different angles and setups and all that. But I hope to get some drone footage this year. I feel like somebody flying over me with a drone and me doing crazy stuff would just add another content layer. So let me know what you think. Talk to you soon. Again, thanks again for subscribing.